Hello, everyone. I'm Kate Spencer. I'm the founder of Life and Soul Academy, a life-changing membership that helps you with personal and spiritual development. I will put the link in the comments, and also the author of the 12 Lessons book series, which you can find on Amazon. So I'm here today to talk about Mercury retrograde, and I've got my cards in my hand. So I'm going to do a collective reading for us. Mercury retrograde begins on the 26th of November. And it's a time when sometimes we can get a little bit worried in case things go sideways. So the type of thing that Mercury can affect is transport, and also travel, communication, technology are the main things. So it's a chance to not catastrophize and not get overly worried and anxious because remember, we draw in what we send out through law of attraction. So we don't want to be going around with the frame of reference that everything's going to go wrong because we don't want to experience that. But we can be more mindful and we can double check travel arrangements. We can be mindful in terms of transport, check your tire pressure, check your car's got enough oil in it. Don't chance it if you haven't got a lot of fuel and you're making a long journey. And we can make sure that we communicate really, really clearly as well. And communication covers all communication, not just speech, so emails, posts on social media, responses on social media, etc. Mercury is also a time when we can do some really deep inner work. The energy that surrounds a Mercury retrograde lends itself very well to shadow work and to looking at aspects of ourselves where we may be wounded, where we may be self-sabotaging, and where we literally need to dig in and do the work with ourselves. So it's a great time to journal and to meditate and to just give yourself some time and space for reflection and create those little pockets in our lives that sometimes we forget to create in terms of giving ourselves that time and energy and space to unpack, to process, and to literally just be. It's also the final Mercury retrograde of the year, so it's a chance to tie up loose ends, to finish the year strong and to do that inner work so that we can clear out as much as possible. And speaking of clearing, you'll find a link again in the comments about energy clearings. If you'd like to book one with me, you can have a look at that. And yes, it's a chance to end the year strong and to look ahead into the new beginning. That is the new year that will be upon us before we know it, and to hopefully be able to raise our frequency, do some healing, and evolve and end the year in a really, really conscious way. I'm aware that so many of us end up at Christmas time and the festive season spending money on stuff we don't need to impress people that we don't really like. And it's better to be able to end up the year in a conscious place and to be able to enjoy Christmas presents rather than Christmas presents, maybe. So just consider that and see how you feel about it. And I'm not saying you need to be a Scrooge, but it is sometimes a trap that we fall into, that commercialism, and it's sometimes unnecessary. Okay, so I'm going to read now and I'm going to ask you to tune in. I've already shuffled these. I'm going to give them another shuffle now, and I'm going to do this with the intention that it's for whoever is watching this. Okay, so please share this as well on your socials. Make sure you subscribe and leave me a comment to let me know if it resonates with you. I'm going to pull 5 cards at this time. So if you want to, you can tune in now to number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or you can claim all of these because they are all for the collective. Now, because this is a general reading, please know that it may or may not resonate with you, and always only take what you need. Okay, so that's me about shuffled, I think. One more perhaps. Okay, so let's see. So card 1, passion ignited. So this is about things coming full circle. It's about your heart being ablaze with what makes you happy. Now, what I'm feeling for this card is to tune in and find out what that is. A lot of us don't even know what that is. And especially if you've been in situations that perhaps you feel like you've lost yourself, remember that I said just earlier that Mercury retrograde is a great opportunity to go within and to find out where we've been sabotaging, where we might still be wounded, where we might still have work to do. This card, I feel, is asking us to get into our heart and find out what it is that sets our soul on fire and do more of that. And it sounds like an easy thing to do, but what I feel for a lot of us is that we need to give ourselves permission to do that. So often we are on the hamster wheel of life, or we might be focusing on pleasing other people, especially at this time of year when things are going to get busy and a bit more festive soon. You might be feeling that you need to go to different social occasions, that you need to exactly buy things that you don't necessarily, that you can't really afford or that you don't want to buy. I feel like so many of us might get swept away in the Christmas doing, not the Christmas being, and that this is a timely message to get into your heart, find out what fills you up and what makes you happy, and do more of that. I also like the feeling of things coming full circle, and I think that's timely as we do enter that final retrograde of the year. And I feel like this is telling us to tie up any loose ends that might be hanging around, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in business, whether it's with our families, our friends. Also, tying up the year as well, because we're coming into a time in December that's going to be really busy. But I do feel there needs to be some personal reflection and a conscious close to the year for many of us. So that's card one. Oh, card two, material and spiritual prosperity. I love this card. So it's about the flow and about material wealth and there being enough. I feel like what I want to say to so many of us is there is enough, there is going to be enough. And I know that there are people out there who will be struggling financially. And I did start, didn't I, by saying that so many of us are possibly going to fall in the trap of spending money we don't have on stuff we don't need to impress people we don't want. That's a worthiness thing. And this card is reflective of the fact that material prosperity comes in when you've done the inner work. So it's about doing the inner work and being okay with you, with who you are, with being grateful, with feeling worthy, and healing those wounds and letting go of resistance and self-sabotage in order to let the flow come in and not doing it the other way around. So it's saying that the flow is there and that you can access it. And I like this again, another circle, but it's rising on a new day, a new start, a new chapter as a result of the work that you've done. And again, this is the perfect time to do that work. So get your journal out, have some meditation time, take a walk, get up early and sit outside with a cup of coffee if it's not too cold, listen to the birds, think with nature, do what you need to do in order to get in touch with you and do your own healing and your own work at this time. Okay. Card three, emotional withdrawal. Are you feeling frazzled? This is so important. Again, pockets of time for you. It's sometimes important when we do all this spiritual work, don't we? But sometimes integrating it, we don't really have the time or energy to do. And this is about you finding that time for you to withdraw and for you to look after yourself. It's saying that you might be feeling really frazzled and overwrought and overwhelmed. When I feel like this, I really have to cave out. And this is very classic for a lot of empaths, people who have that extra sensitivity to energy, to people and to places, that sometimes we end up getting so overwhelmed, we have to just pull the drawbridge up and retreat. And people can sometimes think that we're being quite aloof, which we aren't. We're just protecting ourselves. So this card is saying, find some space for you. Find somewhere where you can unpack your feelings, where you can disconnect from the world, and where you can show up your own energy. It's about self-care and it's about not giving all of your energy away to everyone else. A pertinent message, I feel, in terms of doing your own work, as I've already mentioned, and also in terms of quite a busy time coming up for a lot of us in terms of our human life. That's card number three. Card number four, spiritual strength. It is a little similar to this card, but this card is saying after you've been through a tough time, and if you have been through a challenging time, I'm sending you love and cheering you on. This card is saying you might feel that you haven't got what it takes to keep going. Now, this might be with reference to a relationship, career, a family situation, health. It could be anything. Take what it means to you. but it's saying that you have got what it takes to keep going. Even when you feel like you're done and you can't do one more lap, remember, you don't know when the tide is going to turn. And this is a message that you have got what it takes to keep going. So dig deep and keep doing what you need to do to move towards that goal. And the fifth card, Deception and Envy. Ooh, this is a card that makes you think, who's that in my life? So, what I like to note about this card is that when people are envious, and we look at that one first, it's usually because they are in a place of lack. And when you believe in the flow, when you believe in the goodness of life and us all being able to create what we want, you work on yourself. You don't look outside yourself and feel envious about other people. You do your own inner work, knowing that when you can release resistance, when you can heal, when you can attract, that it's on you what comes to you. So I like to look when this card comes out in my life at who might be envious of me and send them love. Do my best to send them love and consider that they must be in a place of lack and maybe they aren't conscious enough to understand that they can create their own life. So that's the first part. And that's a very compassionate, empathic, evolved thing to do if you are resonating with this card and the envy aspect of it. In terms of deception, that's about obviously not being true or not being in your truth. So there may be someone around you. And again, Mercury in a retrograde can bring a lot of stuff to light. You might find that stuff comes to light that was being hidden from you, either deliberately or not deliberately. But deception, that could be about self-deception and about where you are hiding aspects of you that you aren't happy with. Again, do the inner work. Or it could be deception, someone in your circle. And if someone is deceiving you, then you're going to have to weigh that up and decide how you feel about it and what the gravity is to you. But also, it could be about them lying to themselves. And if they are lying to themselves, that again is about them doing their own inner work. So I hope that helped. There's your 5 cards for the Mercury retrograde. That is just kicking off. Remember, as I said initially, it's a time of introspection and a time of healing. I'll also put a link in the comments for my future self meditation, the guided meditation that I created, where you can line up with the version of yourself that you want to create and the life that you want to create, and it will assist you with manifesting. It would be great to know whether that resonated with you. Please subscribe. Please leave me a comment. And of course, please share this. Okay, lots of love. Bye bye for now.